and syncs its lips with Alexa's words. The big fish costs $40, and Amazon is taking pre-orders of the fish right now. The original big mouth Billy Bass was first sold in 1999. You know, we have the news brief on Alexa, so you can call that up and have Eric Franke's voice come out of that fish's mouth. It's wonderful times we live in, isn't it?
Makes a great gift. Just like
Billy.
the Chia Pet.
Here's Eric now. That's our time for now. Thanks for watching. News 3 at 5 starts right now. I got to get one of those.
Right now at 5, an area hospital's hot water system may have put patients at risk for a severe type of pneumonia.
A woman arrested on suspicion of drunk driving 3 times in a week is charged with homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle and is being sentenced.
And a family speaking out after a Rock County Sheriff's deputy shot their dog while the deputy was serving civil papers in Janesville.
This is News 3 at 5.
Thanks for staying with News 3. UW Health says it is working to treat patients who contracted a form of pneumonia likely within the walls of the hospital.
Our Amy Reed joins us live from UW Hospital to tell us how this happened and what the hospital is doing now. Amy?
4 patients that spent time here at UW Health have come down with Legionnaire's disease. The hospital is tracing that back to a change in the water system that may have allowed bacteria to infect these patients. A couple weeks back on the 12th, the hospital changed the pressure system in the water pipes. This may have allowed the bacteria that causes Legionnaire's to infect patients through hot water, likely from a shower. Doctors at an off-site facility diagnosed some of these patients after they started showing symptoms of pneumonia. Now the hospital is treating patients with antibiotics, and though 2 of them had been released, they had to be readmitted to treat this. One of the other patients was already in inpatient care. It's been 23 years since the hospital has seen this before, but they said this happens at every hospital.
Well, I would say that, if you need medical care, you're not going to find a healthcare facility where Legionella hasn't been recovered at some point in their history. It's just ubiquitous. It's everywhere. I think we were one of the very fortunate ones that we hadn't seen it for over 2 decades, and I think we'll have no problem getting back to that state.
The hospital said they've switched the water system back to the way it was before, and they're monitoring patients to make sure they don't get it. They're also running high levels of chlorine through the system tonight to kill any bacteria, but until that system is completely flushed out, there are no showers for any of the patients here at UW Health, so they don't get that disease as well.
Amy Reed reporting live from the hospital. Amy, thank you. A woman faces up to 40 years in prison as she waits to be sentenced for homicide by intoxicated use of a motor vehicle. Kelly Johnsrud got emotional in court today as she heard from the family members of the man she killed on October 13th of last year. Johnsrud admitted to being arrested for driving while intoxicated and receiving 3 OWIs in 8 days. It was during her 3rd OWI when she hit and killed 38-year-old Verona native Kevin Kaltenberg in a head-on collision on Highway 14 near Arena. Kaltenberg's family was in court today. We heard from many of them who say the person affected the most from all of this is Kaltenberg's 8-year-old son.
If I could tell Dad one last thing, I would say he was the best dad I ever had. And he was. He was a good son. And I just can't excuse the choices she made that ended his life. He wasn't perfect, Kev wasn't, but he was ours and we loved him.
Johnsrud admitted in court that she doesn't remember much about that night, the night that she killed Kaltenberg, saying she was struggling with substance abuse problems and has no explanation for why she got behind the wheel. We'll have continuing coverage on this coming up tonight at 6.
And we turn now to weather meteorologist Dana Fulton in our weather center with your first alert forecast. Dana?
We're focusing on snowfall for us tonight. Some light flurries starting to move into Wisconsin. On our radar, we're picking up all of this light blue, as you can see. The problem is a lot of it looks like moisture in the atmosphere that's evaporating before it hits the ground, a Virga for us. So in Madison right now, although we do have blue over us, some areas not seeing the snowfall just yet. In fact, unfortunately, sunset, of course, about 35 minutes ago, but we have a bit of a view here from our Platteville camera. It looks a little foggy outside right now, but we did hear that there may be a few snowflakes on the ground towards Platteville. Temps are chilly. We're close to 27 in Madison and in Janesville, 26 right now in Platteville for us. A few degrees cooler than where we're at today. Dew point still very dry, though, quite a bit drier in Madison and in Janesville as opposed to where our dew points are at towards Mineral Point and Platteville. Part of the reason we may be seeing some fog there. Over in the southwest corner of the state. Heading into tomorrow, do plan on the potential for a slick morning commute with this chance for flurries overnight lingering into the early hours of tomorrow morning. Temps will stay fairly steady overnight in the 20s. Tomorrow will actually be back into the middle 30s, and that's going to carry us into a slightly warmer weekend. Snow tonight, but we are talking about snowfall and rain heading into the weekend. We'll take a look at all that's coming up in your 10-day in just a few minutes.
All right, Dana, thank you. A Janesville family says they'll file a complaint after their family dog was shot by a Rock County Sheriff's deputy.
The office says it's conducting an investigation to find out what happened. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter spoke with the family today and joins us from our bureau at the Janesville Gazette with more. Adam?
Well, Eric and Susan, the Rock County Sheriff's Office is describing it as a split-second decision, a situation that led a sheriff's deputy to shoot a Janesville family's German Shepherd. Now the family is asking for an apology, and they're also asking for help.
Oh, there you go. Oh.
Meet Skye, a German Shepherd that has been part of the Reed family since they adopted her 3 years ago.
She's hyper but so loving. She's a lover. She's a lover and a cuddler. So she's amazing.
On Monday night, a Rock County Sheriff's deputy visited the Reeds to drop off civil papers. When he saw the dog, officials say he felt threatened.
She heard a noise like what a normal dog would do. She went where the noise was and let out a bark. And then that's when my dad said, "Skye, come," and then that's when the gun went off.
The deputy encountered a dog that was coming at him in an aggressive manner, and he took actions at that time to address that.
Captain Wood said the sheriff's office is now investigating the incident. The deputy involved has been with the office for 7 years and has not been placed on administrative leave. Reed says she's upset with how the deputy went about the situation.
He didn't come up with a flashlight, didn't come up saying who he was, nothing. I'd like for him to come around and apologize for one, and I'd like him to help, with the cost. Since, he did shoot at a dog that wasn't doing anything wrong.
And says it will take time, bills, and trips to the vet to get Skye back on all four legs.
It is going to be a road. It's going to be a lot of vet visits. We have to make sure she's not going to catch an infection. So, it is going to be a road ahead of her for recovery.
Now, Captain Wood says they're going to try and use this investigation to figure out how something like this can be prevented from happening in the future. Now, as for the Reeds and as for Skye, that poor pup does have some mounting medical bills, and they do have a GoFundMe set up, and you can find the link to that GoFundMe on our website, channel3000.com.
Adam Duxter reporting from Janesville. Adam, thanks.
An 18-year-old man has pleaded guilty to fatally shooting a Fort Atkinson man in the parking lot of a Fitchburg apartment building last March. Joshua McInnes was convicted of first-degree reckless homicide yesterday in a deal with prosecutors. 2 other charges were dismissed. McInnes was 17 when he shot and killed 20-year-old Julian Patterson outside the New Fountains Apartments. Police said McInnes, Trevon Jackson, and Gary Mays robbed the victim and his girlfriend of some marijuana. Jackson pleaded guilty to charges in July and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Mays is scheduled for trial next month.
Madison police are hoping the public can help identify a porch pirate caught on surveillance video yesterday at a residence on Pelham Road on the south side. The man stole several packages from a residence yesterday afternoon. The packages had been delivered a short time before the crime. The man is believed to have been in a smaller silver SUV. Officials ask that anyone with information call Madison Area Crime Stoppers. The number is 266-6014. The Madison Diocese enters the season of Advent this weekend, mourning the loss of Bishop Robert Morlino, who passed away last weekend. Church officials honor his memory as the process to name a new bishop begins, ultimately a decision that will be made by Pope Francis. In the meantime, the everyday business in the diocese moves on. Vicar General James Bartilla will serve as administrator.
So he'll be basically in charge. He's not a bishop, but he'll be continue to run the diocese as it needs to be. But yeah, and then it goes into this very ancient process of the church to submit names to the Pope Francis to choose a new bishop, and we don't know how long that could take.
The process to name a new bishop could take 6 to 8 months or longer. Bishop Morlino's funeral will be next Tuesday at St. Maria Goretti Parish in Madison.
A new initiative is aiming to recruit more veterans for Wisconsin's workforce. The state spending almost $2 million on the Mission Wisconsin campaign to attract military personnel when they leave the service. The initiative is matching key skills of veterans that are transitioning with employers. Officials hope to bring those veterans to Wisconsin by having a team of state employees and private sector representatives visit military bases throughout the country.
We're supporting service members not only in finding employment with the quality Wisconsin businesses we have, but also connecting them to the community. The county veteran service officers and the veteran service organizations and the community chambers is something that is really needed in that area.
Officials say more than 45 employers are expressing interest in meeting with and potentially hiring veterans for work.
Our rainy year earlier this year is still causing some problems for farmers. They're now dealing with a shortage of Christmas trees. At Jensen's, they lost about an acre of their small trees from the heavy rain. Trees take around 8 to 12 years to grow, so this means the shortage could be something we'll be dealing with for a while. Meanwhile, experts say you can blame the nationwide shortage on the 2009 recession and an excess amount of trees a decade ago that drove many growers out of the business. When the economy struggled, tree farmers cut back on plantings, and those trees were set to come to market over the next few years. That means while the demand is high in today's good economic times, the supply is low, and that's hurting local farms like Jensen Trees.
We had a glut of tall trees for a while, for 10 years. And now we're at the other end of the cycle where we're growing them. We will have a bunch, but they're all little.
Because of that, prices are expected to be just a bit higher this year, with a national average retail price of $75 a tree.
There's more to come on News 3 at 5. Up next, Nancy Pelosi poised to regain the Speaker's gavel. We'll have the very latest from Capitol Hill.
Top administration officials brief lawmakers on the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi, why some in Congress are not satisfied with their latest assessment.
And on Wall Street, the Federal Reserve Chair talks about slowing down interest rate hikes, and the Dow climbs more than 600. The NASDAQ up 209, the S&P up 62. We'll be right back. A new face joins House Democratic leadership as Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi is poised to regain the Speaker's gavel.
Nancy Pelosi staved off potential challengers from within her party to win another term as leader of the House Democrats. Pelosi also received her party's official nomination to become the next Speaker of the House. The California Congresswoman has led the House Democrats for 15 years and became the first female Speaker of the House in 2007.
I couldn't be more honored. That is a figure of speech, but it's in fact in this case as true as any statement anyone could ever make.
Meanwhile, Hakeem Jeffries from New York was chosen to be the new Democratic caucus chair. Jeffries will become the fifth-ranking House Democrat of the full House of Representatives. Republicans and Democrats will officially elect the new House Speaker in January when the new Congress begins.
The entire Senate heard from Secretaries of State and Defense today in a closed-door briefing on the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi and the Saudi-led war in Yemen. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was asked whether Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman had anything to do with the murder of Khashoggi inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul last month.
There is no direct reporting connecting the Crown Prince to the order to murder Jamal Khashoggi.
We have no smoking gun that the Crown Prince was involved, not the intelligence community or anyone else.
But that statement contradicts the CIA's assessment that the Saudi Crown Prince would have at least known about the murder plot. President Trump continues to reinforce the U.S.'s long-standing alliance with Saudi Arabia, citing an arms deal that will bring cash and jobs to the U.S. economy.
Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort is denying a British newspaper report that he had secret meetings with the founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange. The Guardian reports Manafort and Assange spoke several times inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London, including in 2016, just months before WikiLeaks released stolen Democratic emails. In September, Manafort agreed to cooperate with special counsel Robert Mueller in his probe of Russian election interference. But Mueller's team said this week that Manafort lied to federal investigators. They did not reveal what he allegedly lied about. Manafort will likely spend the rest of his life in prison unless President Trump pardons him.
And the president says he is upset with General Motors after the automaker announced it is cutting 14,000 jobs and closing 5 factories. The president tweeted, quote, "We are now looking at cutting all GM subsidies, including for electric cars." GM's stock started to drop almost simultaneously as the president tweeted. The restructuring plan shifts GM's focus from sedans to more popular trucks and SUVs.
That's where they're making money. They still have to make their trucks. They still have to make SUVs. That's the only thing people are buying.
But President Trump says tariffs are the reason Americans buy trucks, tweeting, quote, "If we did that with cars coming in, many more cars would be built here and GM would not be closing their plants in Ohio, Michigan, and Maryland." Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tweeted, quote, "President Trump and I had a good call today to discuss GM, the auto industry, and how best to support people affected on both sides of the border."
Let's head out to the weather patio now. We're expecting a little light snow tonight. Hi, Dana.
Hey, so we do actually right now have a few snowflakes falling out here on the patio. So that means in Madison, we're finally seeing snowfall. Our radar's been picking it up just a little bit over the last several minutes, but finally getting reports. I got to admit, Dave's the one who ran out in the parking lot before me and said, "Hey, it's snowing. You got to come out and see." So it is snowing for us in Madison. But looking at our radar right now, we have a mix of that light icy blue and the darker blue. The darker blue where we're likely seeing snowfall currently. The other areas right now, we call that a Virgo, when the moisture is in the atmosphere and it's evaporating before it hits the ground. So my radar is picking it up, but we're not seeing anything on the ground for some areas in Platteville. Likely seeing some snow right now. If we could have some boots on the ground, you can always comment on Facebook or Twitter or email us. Let us know if you're seeing snow in your area. Looking ahead through the rest of the evening, plan on a mostly cloudy sky with a chance for these snow flurries, just light snowfall overnight into early tomorrow morning. We are going to continue to see that snowfall into your morning commute. In fact, anyone really east of Madison may have a little slicker commute than usual. So might want to give yourself a little more time in Jefferson County or also near Janesville for early tomorrow morning. Not expecting a lot of accumulation with this event, but any moisture on the roads is a good thing. Throughout the day on Thursday, we're going to continue to see a mostly cloudy sky, getting no real break in that cloud coverage through Friday. We get a little break in the afternoon, starting off mostly cloudy, and then later in the day, expecting a variably cloudy sky. Overall, our snowfall potentials with that light white amount. Unfortunately, my numbers aren't popping up for us right now, but we are expecting anywhere under an inch for much of central Wisconsin, and a little closer to about a half an inch of accumulation tonight in Madison or less. This isn't going to be a major amount of snowfall. It is pretty light for us. I do want to bounce ahead, though, to the weekend. Again, we'll stay fairly calm on Friday, but late Friday night into Saturday morning, we do have quite a bit of moisture that's going to be wheeling around right underneath Wisconsin and pushing a little bit up into our direction as well. So early Saturday morning, notice that freezing drizzle line, that pink line you're seeing there with our GFS future track, that is going to be flirting through the Madison area and into Saturday afternoon. So some of the area will be seeing rain, while if you travel north, maybe getting into some snow showers. Could be leading to some messy travel conditions for us on Saturday, but we really are leaning more towards the likelihood of seeing rainfall from Madison on south, as our temperatures will be close to 40. Heading into Sunday morning, that rainfall, of course, as temperatures fall overnight, transitioning to more of a mix before it clears on out of here by later on in the day on Sunday. Temperatures for the next several days after we get through this little warm up this weekend, expected to trend right back down and stay below average for much of the beginning of December. Downtown right now, again, cloudy, but we do have a few snowflakes swirling around. Today we hit a high of 27, still about 10 degrees below average. We will not cool down much overnight with that cloud deck overhead. 24 is where we will land for tomorrow, into the mid 30s, so a little closer to average for our afternoon highs. I'm expecting that mostly cloudy sky. Still pretty cold outside, though. That mixed chance is just early in the morning. Clouds stay throughout the course of the day. We're close to 40 for both Friday and Saturday. Saturday could be a little messy heading into Sunday morning as well. And then we have a very cool start to next week. On the roads right now, take a look at our first alert traffic update. This is at Verona Road on 12 right now, the southeast side of there. Looking throughout much of Dane County, things look fairly okay, but there is a little bit of a situation again near Verona Road and Raymond Road. We'll bounce to that in just a second. There is an accident also on 12 West with the exit to Todd Drive causing a backup. It seems that only the shoulder is blocked right now, but as you can see, traffic delayed quite a bit on the westbound side of 12. And then again, Verona Road heading northbound right at Raymond Road. All lanes are blocked right now due to an accident in that area. Up in Middleton, a little slower on University. But much of the area seems to actually be moving along fairly okay for the evening. Drive times from University Avenue to Verona Road will take you just about 8 minutes. John Nolan to 39, closer to 5 minutes, and Verona Road to John Nolan about 7. So overall, heading home for your evening should be fairly okay. And again, the snowfall is fairly light. Probably won't notice it too much in the car, so it shouldn't cause any travel concerns this evening.
All right. Thank you, Dana.
Still ahead at 5, scammers may be looking to exploit a digital advance from the post office to steal holiday packages and mail. They may be taking advantage of this program that was meant to keep people informed. Stay with us. The United States Post Office expects to deliver more than 900 million packages this holiday season, but some criminals have found a new way to try to steal your mail.
They're taking advantage of a digital notification system from the Postal Service that gives an early look at what's coming in the mail. Chip Reed reports.
You've got mail. That's the message each morning in the email inbox of 13 million people who signed up with the post office for informed delivery. Wherever you are,
Yeah, I can see my mail.
an email arrives with a scan of any mail on its way that day. The post office asks people to verify their identity with questions like past cities and streets where they've lived and the sale price of their home.
The information could be on the dark web. It's being collected by companies that collect and sell data.
That can allow scammers to sign up with your name and address, but their email. And now the Secret Service warns criminals can take advantage of informed delivery to intercept mail and to further their identity theft fraud schemes.
It enables a fraudster to commit the fraud.
Chris Taraka, who had his identity stolen in a 2015 database breach, says a scammer used that hacked data to sign up for informed delivery in his name and swipe a credit card from his mail.
Someone was receiving images and was monitoring, I guess, the neighborhood, and when they saw that the credit card came in the mail, they then proceeded to follow the postal delivery person.
The Postal Service says households can opt out online from informed delivery and warns their inspectors are watching.
Informed delivery is a criminal's worst nightmare because we are continually monitoring for any suspicious behavior.
The Postal Service stresses that the actual informed delivery database has never been hacked. They also say the best way to protect yourself from somebody spying on you might be to sign up using your own email so no one else can sign up as you. Chip Reed, CBS News, Washington.
And stay with us. We'll have another Check Your Forecast in just a moment.
Just enough snow to make things a little slippery outside.
Just a little bit, yes, especially for tomorrow morning. So we're just now starting to see that snowfall move into Madison. Overnight, our temperatures are going to hold pretty steady as we have these flurries moving on in. They'll last throughout the early morning Thursday, especially to the eastern side of Madison towards Milwaukee. That area could have a very slick commute. Overall Thursday, though, cloudy. We'll get a little sun on Friday, and then this weekend also looking quite messy. A chance for some freezing rain to start early Saturday morning, and then rain and mix possible throughout the evening and into Sunday.
All right, Dana, thank you. We're back in 30 minutes with more updates, and the CBS Evening News is next.